Hey everyone, Thoughts here in the Daly division of the World Championship with 179 Children of the Swamp. What amazing team so far. 2 regional wins under the belt. You gotta check out their amazing arm mechanism that's able to go through their elevator from the top and their amazing climb and ground intake. Really excited to get down here on Behind the Bumpers. Jason, start off with your intake. Talk to us about how the design process was.
So sure, so we started off with these kind of similar panels here. They looked somewhat like this, but they've changed quite a bit. So initially we had same HDPE panels, but whenever we hit the wall, they'd break. And also this inside here took 7 or 8 redesigns, I believe. And we did all that within a very short period of time. So initially we ran some polycarbonate across, and then eventually we switched to HDPE thinking that would be stronger. And then now we're on aluminum. Talking about the actual rollers here, initially we wanted to run belts across this, and actually O-rings, and then we thought that they were going to pull the piece up, but they actually snapped a lot, and now we're running compliant rollers. The stars across the end here were added at our last regional because we wanted to try and increase the distance across so that we could have more force on the coral. Following that, we have this, which is kind of somewhat it's kind of a gradient down from the top to the bottom to really bias it as it goes in. That way we can make sure coming out of our intake, it's straight. So if you kind of demo it here, it picks up the coral and straightens it out. So that way it goes to our handoff and sits up properly. So if you look at the handoff here, you'll notice that it flips over from the top, and that was something we added when we switched our claw over.
Do you guys have any issues of potentially the coral just, coming out of your intake once you do that movement of making the coral stand up?
So yeah, we did. So at some point, we used to have it where the coral would sometimes get stuck here, and that was a big design challenge for us. But eventually, we added that to minimize that process, and it just picks it up right out of the center.
So you have all the collision faults just prepared, and
we have a lot of controls that are prepared to really handle a lot of problems that we might have.
Well, let's pass it over to Dustin to talk about the elevator that's going on over here. Talk to us about the design process you guys have. You don't have a bar at the top, which allows your arm to go through it. Talk to us about that.
So what's cool about our robot, which I think is really awesome, is the fact that our elevator is actually open on top. So if you see that, so then when it comes down to scoring, let's say algae, we can pick it up from the ground. So if CJ, our operator, is going to do that, pick that out. All right. So I think that's really interesting about that. So if anybody saw us from finals in Orlando, you saw this elevator just like come straight out, which was not cool. So what we did was added these L-shaped holders that go in between the bearing right here on both sides. So it'll never happen again, which is a must-have, since we're in Worlds. Our carriage is always tightened down by this here ratchet that's cut off, that's zip tied on the carriage. So if this is loose, all you do is just ratchet it up. It's good to go. The string right here, if anybody's wondering, this connects to our pulleys. This is what obviously makes the elevator go up and down. And the strings are actually for spear fishing, so they're pretty strong, and they're really good. So
yeah.
CJ.
Now let's hand it over to CJ to talk to us about the new arm and claw mechanism that you guys have.
So the claw is one of my favorite parts of the robot because it's such a unique part of our robot because it integrates our intake as well as our carriage and every sub mechanism, which I love so much. The actual pass off itself is one of the greatest I've seen. It's very funky if you think about it and you look at it, and it looks like it shouldn't work, but it's a science. It's very specific, and we have a very effective pass off that allows us to maintain a hold on the coral the whole time. And yeah, as you can see here, as you've seen, the coral passes through here, and as it gets funneled in, it'll actually get caught around here, and our elevator, our carriage, as well as the pivot will work together to lower the elevator to center the coral as such, and it'll go in a stow position. The way we score the algae, I feel, is very unique. I love how it integrates our open top elevator and how we can pass over, we can score high. We don't exactly throw it, but we are able to drop it in, and we can do that very fast and without much threat to the robot. One of the things that I feel makes us very unique is that we can intake the algae scored up high very effectively, as well as grabbing a coral and being able to do that all simultaneously. And there's a very good integration of human and autonomy that allows us to do that. It took a lot of work and a lot of iteration for us to come to that level, but what we have now is our finished product, and I feel we do that very well, and I feel it's very unique as well. We're not like many other teams in any of our design, and that's taken multiple iterations. As we said previously, we've iterated our intake 5 times. It's claws version 7. We have all the original CAD files for our claw, but we've learned so much from our regionals that we've been able to come to this finished product of just everything working simultaneously, very unique, and it works very effectively.
Well, now let's hand it back to Jason to talk to us about your climber. Seems pretty hidden, but you actually have a climber, so talk to us about that.
Yeah, so our climber, it's hard to see at first, and it kind of follows one of our principles of really trying to make everything work together and to minimize the actual weight on our robot. So if you notice here, we have these 4 neodymium magnets. There's 2 on each side of our robot. So when we want to climb, the cage kind of comes through this main section here with the intake. It centers itself using these 2 pieces of surgical tubing and then latches onto these 4 neodymium magnets. Once it's touched them all, it actually drops below the center of our robot through this hole. Uses this is a very simple, grab that. This is a very simple piece here. All it is has a little bump like this, and all that does is grabs the inside of the circle on the cage. When we decide we want to climb, we drop this actual elevator using the same motors we use to go up and down regardless anyway. And we have this little ratchet over here, which actually locks us in place.
Well, 179 Children of the Swamp, thank you guys so much for taking the time to walk us through your amazing robot. Again, 2 regional wins under your belt, doing so well already in the Daly division. Really excited to see you guys compete more here in the championship, and good luck for the rest of the season.